Now, where you stopped, right on these, the edge of the tail, the bottom portion, you're gonna grab those lines and just create arched lines or curved lines that are going to follow or be parallel to that center line that we created the very first time. So we're gonna go kind of create a buffer around them, a little bit of room. We're not gonna get too close to it because we wanna show that the tail is nice and thick. If we do want to mold it or angle it in a bit, we can after we've created the initial lines. So we're just creating those initial lines, keeping the pencil very, very light, and then we'll go in and fix anything that needs fixing. All right, so you've got that in there. If, like to me, this one feels a little too straight, so I'm going to curve it a little bit more. All right, I'm leaving a lot of lines on the paper and not erasing them. I'll erase them when we get to that stage. I'm not quite sure I want to get rid of them yet, so I'm leaving them on there. I am leaving this line as well. This line shows that the tail is further back from the rest of the body. So I will be keeping that line to communicate that bit of information. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to, where this has kind of a right angle on it, I'm going to curve that up, and then I'm going to end up curving right here and creating less of a corner and more of a curved angle. This is where you just start to go in and make corrections. So I want that to feel like it's really flowing, that there's no rigid angles on it. Let's see here. That looks good for now. I am gonna put in the background shapes. So I'm gonna copy the one that I was showing you earlier, and I'm going to create a very gradual diagonal. I'm gonna ghost my line behind the whale, and I'm gonna come out on the other side here. So I've got one, then I'm going to create a diagonal that goes up kind of in the opposite direction, ghost the line behind, and then continue on the other side. So there's 3 portions to the background. Now when it comes time to color it, you can work your values. You can start with dark blue, medium dark blue, and then a lighter blue. And that will create a progression, also moving the eye upward. I'm going to create just some very light wave type lines here. So just these little smileys or arches, just to create that wave. There we go. All right, let's see here. Gonna give a very light land line, and along here, I'm starting my pencil at one point, and then I'm just shooting it upward to make the grass shape. So you start at a point, and then just let your pencil fling in an upward motion like that. That creates a little bit of our grass. And now for the tree. So we decided that this was a pretty close rule of third, or point of a third. So the tree trunk could be in this general area. We're getting awfully close to the top of the paper. So the top of the tree is not going to go past that point. So I'm going to just create some more curved lines, kind of imitating a little bit of the curved lines of the water. Create some unity in here, a branch, maybe a bird's nest, keeping everything light. I'm not going to draw the bird in yet. Maybe have a branch going here, but I want to keep the lines really simple. There we go. I'm gonna do just some really short lines to give that feeling of grass. let's see what else. Okay, now on the other side is where I had started to draw the cave. And the cave reminded me of a hill. The one in your drawing reminded me of a hill that is very hidden. I mean, the hill's not hidden, but the entrance to the cave is hidden. You would actually have to be like wandering around that area to discover it. You wouldn't see it if you were just passing by. So it's kind of a hill, and here's the entrance. And you could even have another shorter hill that goes towards the tree. And this is where you start to add more layering of hills. So you could have a hill that runs through the trunk of the tree in the background. And perhaps instead of going downward towards the opening of the cave, you could actually have it coming up above the cave. So that could work. It will get very close to your clouds, and that might make the whole piece up here feel very cramped. So you could lower this hill if it became too much, and you may not even need a hill here. You might be able to just continue the land like so. So it might be better to take this hill out, or it might be better to have it be more subtle and not so high above your cave. Here in the distance, you might have some clouds, and that's where you could put in those lines. They are similar to the lines we did for the textured bear, except these ones, you might make them shorter, and like little ants marching along, you do get to let them be one after the other. It's up to you if you want to create another cloud off here in the distance, or if you wanted to create another hill, you could. It does seem odd that there would just be one cloud raining down on one area of your landscape. You could call this the Texas weather, since we do sometimes have weather like that. So I'm just continuing with another cloud. You can always have clouds that go off the edge of your paper. This one could even go off the edge here. The edge or the opening of your cave is going to be just a little darker in value. So continue to keep the lines nice and light, or the pressure of your pencil nice and light. And this is where, if it's a hill, you might have grass growing up and around that opening. And you could just continue those lines. The lines are just repeating. They change in height, but they're generally very similar. So we won't be able to see the lines quite as well out here, so you could add a very, very simple pattern, even if it's just polka dots, to your back landscape. And for this one, you could even just give rows as if it's a field of some kind. And those two lines together work well. It's up to you if you want to continue it all the way to here, or if you want to stop it there at the trunk of the tree. So I'm going to stop for now, let you get caught up, and then in the next video, we'll put in a lot more of the detail on the whale, and I'll let you decide what kind of pattern you want to have in your water. If you want to leave the pattern out and you just want to go for dark blue, a lighter value of that blue, and then a much lighter tint of that blue, that might be better. In art, we just experiment a lot and figure out as we go what's working, and then a lot of artists will take a draft and move it on to the next step So this might be one that you just practice, and then you may have to redo it on a final piece of paper, and you'll have worked out all the kinks. You'll have decided if you want to do the pattern, if it looks good, or if having a solid chunk of color down here in each section is better and more visually pleasing. So I hope that helps give you some direction, and so yeah, well, in the next video we'll add more details to the whale. Okay, bye for now.